This is the Impressions Xchange podcast.
Impressions Xchange podcast,
where all topics impacting the graphic imaging and printing industry are addressed via in-depth news coverage, analysis, and timely interviews.
Welcome to the Impressions Xchange podcast. I'm Ashley Roberts, managing editor, and your host for today's episode. Some exciting news for the week of April 8th. Registration is now open for the 2024 Printing United Expo, taking place in Las Vegas, September 10th to the 12th. To mark this occasion, we hopped on a call with Mark Subers, President of Events and Exhibitions for Printing United Alliance, to find out what's new for the Expo this year. We talk about the reimagined Apparel Zone, the exciting Media Day, and the new Knowledge Center and After Dark experiences. Well, hello, Mark. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Of course, Ashley. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. So, really exciting. Registration for 2024 Printing United Expo is now open. So I wanted to invite you on to kind of talk us through this year's event. What's happening? What's new for this year?
Yeah, well, lots of stuff. As we know, this is a very, very busy year for shows, right? So we've got Drupa happening and Label Expo and ISA, and there's so much happening in the world of printing and print and packaging. So super excited from that perspective. But our show is a little unique in how we diversify and basically show all equipment, all applications for all segments, right? So that's apparel through labels and packaging and commercial and wide format mailing, et cetera, et cetera. So we're really excited to have each area of the show continue to expand. We're actually, I talked to the team today and looked at our floor plan. We're in Vegas, as we all know, right? September 10th to 12th this year. And we actually are going to take a couple of the show experiences, either reduce them or take them off the floor because we need more floor space for our exhibitors. So we're getting a lot of folks in, folks that we never had before, especially in the apparel is really starting to expand, which is super exciting. And then, in central, where it's mostly commercial packaging and some wide format, we're into our final expansion area. So we are going to be quite full, and these are big halls, but, really excited for that perspective. And in terms of new, we're doing some things. We have our apparel zone and future state, and we had a hub last year, and we're actually amalgamating them together into a new experience. And I've been working with the apparelist team, and I'm not going to tell you thematically what it's about because it's really kind of cool. We're not giving that away yet, but it's this training area, educational training area. We're also going to have a theater in there, and so we're super excited about what that can offer to the apparel decorating organization. And also we're building something new this year. What we're calling our Knowledge Center. So it's really kind of thematically follows what we did with the hubs that were separated last year, but we're going to put them all together. So all of our association partners, all of our media partners, are going to be in the same area. And what we want to do is create this sort of area, this hub of education. So if you want to find out and learn more about labels or packaging or promotional or apparel decoration, you can go here, get all of the reports and all the research and the magazines from all of our associations and all of our media partners. So they're some of the best subject matter experts there are in the area, including our own brands. Of course, our own media brands will be represented there, but we've got up to about 35 media brands. And probably 10 or 15 other associations that are supporting what we're doing here. So we're providing an entire area that'll actually be in our lobby along with our membership experience. So that'll be open and available to everybody, really from the very beginning of the events in the morning till closing. So we're really pretty excited about both of those.
That's great. And there's a couple of things that I love to dig into here. You mentioned, obviously we are in all of the different segments that some of the, other events this year touch on specifically, but we kind of have all of that under one roof. So can you talk about that? How we, the different segments that we'll be in and everything that we have to offer there?
Yeah, and I think this sort of harkens back a little to some research we did back well, I think it was actually 2017 going into 2018 at this point. I think, we've followed what we've coined sort of a convergence model, and that's a very macro way to think about it in terms of the segments, but I would call it a printer diversification strategy. Okay, from a printer perspective, right? So I'm a commercial person and I want to get into promotional products. How do I do that? Right? Or I want to get into apparel decoration. I want to get into labels. And we're seeing that really quite frequently. I heard from a lot of OEMs last year, even laid some side bets with some people that were actually kind of funny, that they would really do quite well with some of their newer equipment that you would not expect, at a traditional SGIA, which is our sort of foundational expo start. What we offer is a full education around all areas of printing and packaging, right? So if you want to learn how to get into something, that's what the Knowledge Center is kind of centered around, and what we're trying to articulate there through all of our partners is, what is that strategy? Tell me information, tell me reporting, tell me research. How do I get into these areas? And then be able to go out and see the equipment. We're also going to have a lot of print samples in our knowledge center as well. So if you're looking like, hey, I'm looking to get into apparel decoration, you see something you like, and you'll say, oh, that was done in the M&R booth. Okay, and you can go talk to them about it. So yes, we are unique in that perspective. We do have, like I said, pretty much all the applications in print covered. And like I said, they'll be in certain halls. But yeah, that is something we're really quite proud of, because it does provide, if you don't have to go to 5 different shows, to find out what you're really looking for. You can really find it all in one experience, like you said, under one roof.
Yeah, that's great. And you mentioned this knowledge center, which I'm really excited for that this year. In the past, we've also had, keynote sessions,
Yep.
separate education sessions that aren't on the show floor. Are we still doing that this year? What's that going to look like?
Yeah, for sure. So there's generally 3 legs of the stool to any expo, right? And being in a big equipment show, we moved 5.5 million pounds of equipment last year. Okay, we'd expect all of that at least for this year. And so first and foremost, when we do our research with our attendees, what did you come for? 89% come to see the latest equipment. So we are at heart, as a printing industry, we're an equipment oriented, software substrate oriented, group. So that's what we want to see on the floor. But number 2 ranking is generally networking. So we have about 30,000 people register in total for the event. We hope to expand that a little bit this year. So networking is covered just from the pure nature of how many people come and how many exhibitors. We had over 800 exhibitors last year. We're on track to do that again this year, and sell out. Vegas is about 1.1 million square feet that we're in, and looks like we're going to be wall to wall there. And then also education. So I know that you're active in the education side of things as well. We look like we're going to end up around 45 or 50 educational sessions, some general topics. We're excited. We're talking about some stuff around AI. Okay, talking about stuff around automation, some of the hotter topics that are out in the market, which are sort of like general sessions that kind of cross over all the different segmentation. But then we're also going to have things very specific to the apparel decoration community, the commercial, the labels of packaging and mailing, etc. Things that would be very specific to them. So yeah, we did put out a call to some trusted folks that we wanted to see come and speak, and people that have shown interest in speaking. So we have a lot of subject matter experts that we expect to come in and cover these topics. We probably are up to about 65, 75 topics maybe, and we're probably going to cull that down to what we will consider our top 45 or 50. And so we're really excited. We think we're going to really hit the nose, and we also have a couple keynotes that we're lining up, and we're going to have Andy again. He was really well standing room only last year, giving an overview from an economical standpoint. And then, we're working on our next keynote, and we're going to keep that a secret for now, but we're working on something nice.
Cool. Okay. Well, I'm excited to hear who that's going to be. And yeah, I know I heard, and Andy's keynote last year was unbelievable and just really popular. So that's exciting that he'll be back.
Yeah, well, everybody likes to understand, when they're coming to a show like this, like, what's the landscape look like, right?
Right.
Is the market growing? Is it shrinking? Where's the general, economics around the market? And it's really quite insightful, when you're making major capital investments into equipment, it's nice to know where the market is going to be.
Right. Yeah. So something else that's new this year, it's the After Dark program. Can you talk about that? Sounds exciting.
Yeah, so I was at an event, the major American trade show organizers, Metso. Sounds like a soup, but it's Metso is the name of the group. And so yeah, I met Jeff from the SHOT Show. He's the CEO of that organization. They run multiple events, but he and I got talking about how well his After Dark program went with this organization called Jam Pack, and he put me in touch with them. And they really do two things. They help organize events for the event around the expo itself. So I think we have two specific gatherings, but then there's three more opportunities, sort of like later in the evening after you've had your dinner, to go out. And it's a place for the expo folks, if they scatter a little bit after they leave and go to their dinners and meet with colleagues, etc. But it's a place for us to gather back again, and that's actually part of registration. So if you want to register for an After Dark, there's actually two flavors of it. You can just get, and it's basically Jam Pack actually puts staffing there, and it's a sort of a velvet rope treatment, VIP access to these really upscale places that they set up for us. So I'm really pretty excited about that. So there's the, just get a pass, or just get a pass with, with unlimited alcohol. So there's sort of two flavors of it, because most of these places are obviously they're nightclubs and areas of like that. So yeah, they're setting that up for us. And then Jam Pack is also working with our exhibitors, and they're a really great resource to help book parties for our exhibitors too, if they're looking for a dinner for a client, or looking to rent out the Hard Rock. Okay, that they do everything in between. So they've been a really, really great partner. That's something we initiated this year, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how that plays out for us this year.
That's great. That's great. And I think Vegas is the perfect place for something like this. So that's really exciting.
Well, yeah, we actually went out there. We had a exhibitor summit, optimization summit, and they got us tickets for the Sphere. They got us into a really nice cocktail lounge. They got us this wonderful dinner. So these guys are based in Vegas. They also do other cities that we go to. So this will be something we look to, if we have success, we'll continue this both in Orlando and Atlanta, and then back in Vegas and in 26 and 27. But yeah, it's really, I mean, it's really, it's an interesting, great partnership. And these guys, they know Vegas, so they're going to bring us to the best places, right?
Yeah.
So instead of me trying to guess where we should go, they're going to help us set all this up for us.
That's great. That's really, really cool. And I can link, for everyone listening, I can link to that page so you can find out more information. I'll link it below in the description. So you also mentioned the membership experience, which I know we did last year, but can you just kind of talk about that for anyone who's not aware of what that is?
Yeah, so again, the membership experience is going to be in the same area as the Knowledge Center, and we're laid out a little bit differently this year. We're going to be using Hall C2 as our lobby. There's a little construction going on in Vegas, so that's where we're going to do. But yeah, the membership booth, a very, very large experience, and it's going to cover all their Infinity programs. It's going to cover their iLearning. There's going to be a membership lounge, very similar to what they had done last year, which was really, really well received and very successful. An area for us to shoot videos. So it should be a very, very active area. And anyone that's interested in learning more about membership, anyone that's a member that's looking just to hang out with other members in the lounge, and there's free coffee and soda and snacks and all of that. But then there's areas for all our Infinity partners, right? So there's, from shipping companies to insurance companies, et cetera. There's quite a few things that the membership offers in terms of relationship with other vendors, and they will all be there to represent. So it's really a nice opportunity if you're interested in supporting the Alliance and all that we do. then this is like the one-stop shop to find out everything there is to know about Printing United Alliance, what we're doing to support the industry, and that is mission orientation number one, is to make sure that everyone is successful in the long-term success of our industry, and you'll be able to meet with all the folks that run membership and see them there at the booth.
Great. Well, we can't finish this without telling listeners where to go to register, since registration just opened. So where can they go to find out more about Printing United Expo and register?
Yeah, so printingunited.com. Okay, and that's very, very easy. And again, the dates are September 10th to the 12th. And we're very excited to be back in Vegas. It really offers us a lot in terms of space for the expo, but then also sort of the printers, and the attendees tend to love Vegas. It's always a fun spot to go to. So yeah, printingunited.com. That's where they go, and then, like you said, all the information about the After Dark program. If you want to take a deep dive into some of our media partners and what we have happening there, we're actually doing something pretty exciting. In terms of we're doing a media day for the first time ever. So we've kind of press conferences, again, back to that Mezzo meeting, and other ones that we attend. We attend quite a few meetings throughout the year to find out what's really happening in the world of expositions, what's happening, what's not. Press conferences are a little bit of a thing of the past. They're not really well attended. My particular feeling on why is because, it's very hard to attract, and you'll understand this when I say, because, what do you do when you're at the expo? Well, you're out interviewing people on the floor, you're finding out more about we're not the traditional. I think the editors are more content creators now. They're editors, yes, at heart, but they're also content creators. So they're looking for the story on the floor. They're looking to folks to talk to. They're looking to create videos, do podcasts, etc. And it's not really sitting up in a room and learning about speeds and feeds about new equipment. So we are trying to do a meeting. We're not trying. We're going to be doing a media day where our sponsors and maybe a select other few exhibitors are able to actually present. Okay. And then sit down with one-on-one meetings. We are flying in and putting up media from around the world. Okay. As part of this program, it's a pretty major investment that we've made into the show. We just wanted to make sure that, we've got all the best media and coverage from a global perspective for our exhibitors to have at their fingertips. So, like I said, we're doing that the day before. So that's Monday. And then we're a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday this week. So the 10th to the 12th is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, when we're usually Wednesday, Thursday, Friday cadence. So that's going to happen on Monday. So that's really kind of exciting. And that's something new too. And then what we're doing is we're asking our other exhibitors, like, do something on the floor, invite the media in, invite your colleagues to come in, and your partners, and do something in a booth experience, because pulling people off the floor is just and then this is across the board, talking with people from Consumer Electronics Show, from the SHOT Show, from woodworking, you name it. Sitting in these meetings, we're able to sort of brainstorm around these things, and this is something that we're all trying to figure out, what's that next best thing on how to communicate with the press. And we think, we're making an investment into this, and we hope it's, quite successful.
Great. That's exciting. Yeah, really, a really great idea. And it's nice that it's the day before too, because I think, once the event starts, everyone wants to kind of be able to be on the show floor, as you mentioned, and kind of being part of it. So it's nice that the media day is the day before.
Yeah, it has to, in our apparent, Ashley, because it just, like I said, everyone's busy.
Yeah.
And you see all the editors and all the media brands running around doing the interviews, and they're taking pictures and shooting video of the equipment, and just it's the times have changed, and we just want to, we're trying to get in front of this. There's no one that I've known that has done something like this before. As an expo, we sort of ideated on this and whiteboarded, and we went, here's something we think we should try, because the conferences, the press conferences just aren't where it's at anymore. And we think this is the best way to communicate, get the media informed, and then give them the opportunity to then follow up in the booth with all the information that they just learned, and do the follow-up interviews and all of that. So we hope it works quite well. I know that I can tell you our sponsors are very excited about the opportunity to participate with us. in this, and it starts with the breakfast, and there's education, and there's one-on-ones, and we end with we have lunch, obviously, and I think actually Andy's going to come in and do a little lunch presentation for us. Then we end with a nice reception. So it's an all-day affair. And like I said, this is the kind of thing that we at the Alliance really want to, take the lead on things. And like I said, this is a major investment. As you can imagine, we're flying people in from all over the world. Okay. And then, putting them up in hotels and making sure that we have a critical mass of the media partners there to be part of the event.
Great. It's great to hear. Well, Mark, thank you so much for giving us kind of a sneak peek at this year's event. I know I'm excited. I'm sure the listeners are very excited. And as we mentioned, registration's now open. So everyone, please, go to printingunited.com, learn more.
Yep. Don't wait till August and September, like most people do. But yeah, right. Get in and register now. And obviously, when you do that, you have access to the hotels. Generally speaking, we end up booking a lot of the hotels, and they fill up fairly quickly. I've had people tell me like, "How big is your event?" I'm staying like 10 miles outside of the convention center. I'm like, "Well, get in early, register, right. And get your flight set. Get your, and obviously Vegas. There's flights from all over the country directs to Vegas, but yeah, making sure you book your hotel, get your flight, and get yourself registered, and should be a great year. Lots of new equipment coming out that's going to be shown over in Germany at Drupa, and then it's going to make its way back to the States, for Printing United.
Right. Very exciting. Well, Mark, thank you so much, and looking forward to having you back on the show again soon.
Okay. Thanks so much, Ashley. Appreciate it.
I want to thank Mark for joining me on today's episode. I'll include links to the pages we discussed today, including the Printing United Expo website, so you can register today. Stay tuned for the next episode of the Impressions Xchange podcast.